As I was actually talking to you guys the other day, so I wanted to bring this up. Being good looking in sales. We were talking about how much difference does it make being good looking in sales versus not being good looking.
It's a good question, huh?
It is a good question. Absolutely. Look, having worked with many girls over the years, I do feel that there is actually an advantage to being good looking, and I feel it's the audience, right? Because you might have those people that are just kind of cruising along, but having someone who's, again, look, don't think it's a sexist comment. If you have a female in sales, especially in printers and copiers, it goes a long way. Because typically that industry is dominated by a male, gender specific 50s, 60s type of selling. So it is refreshing. So in my opinion, I think that has a major impact. Absolutely.
So you know how everybody's going that women in workforce, they're not as well paid as men and all that stuff. And let's not get into that details, but do you think that women have an advantage, especially good looking women have an advantage in sales because of the way that they look?
I think it's limited. Unfortunately, in my industry, I think sometimes their ability to sell gets overshadowed by their looks and sometimes not taken as seriously as they should be. I have worked in my time in med devices now with some amazingly talented women salespeople. And they have done exceptionally well with their figures and whatnot, but there has been times where they've been unfairly treated, and it's obvious that it's a gender thing. There's been times where if they haven't shown interest back to someone that might have shown a bit of interest, they've been denigrated or pushed to the side. And sadly, even I know of one story that where sexuality was an issue. And this particular person was, is still to this day an amazing salesperson. But when it came out for her preference, she was pushed aside by certain people. And I think, initially they see the clients see a female and you almost like you judge with your eyes, but I think to some extent it gets only the people so far.
All right, so that's a female, but if you look at male, right, especially real estate, right, you have a lot of good-looking men, good-looking women. Good look, depends what you like, but there are quite good-looking, right? Do you think that would make a difference with men now?
Look, can I jump in here? Real estate, which is a great example, is a highly competitive industry, right? Everybody's trying to beat the next person. And real estate is very much about status, okay? So you might have an amazing man that has been selling for 30 or 40 years, but you might have somebody who is female that has been selling for 1 or 2 years. Although the experience lies in the hands of this person that has 30 years of experience, this person that is 1 or 2 years in creates this sense of interest, creates this sense of potentially connection. And I feel that although you can have a person with lots of experience, that may be a man or a female, doesn't really matter, quite often, that if somebody who's got 1 or 2 years of experience will actually still do very, very well. Because in that moment, they're selling themselves. And depending on what the person is connecting with, and I'm talking about connection in many of these conversations, the connection may be that, hey, I've spoken to 6 or 7 real estate agents that are male, 30, 40 years experience in the industry, but then I've had this bright light of, female intuition come in and speak with me. The interest is organically higher. And that's just my opinion. I feel that, yeah, I think it has a major part if you're female or male as to which way this direction is going to go.
Do you think, I question one thing we've done here. We've gone straight into gender. Are we suggesting that females are better looking than males when it comes to the selling process?
No, and I'll tell you what brought this on, right? There's a real estate agent that I know, right? Young kid, he's been doing quite well. Couple of months ago, he's not fat or anything, he's just a normal looking. Couple of months ago, he started putting things on social media, he's starting to hit the gym. In a couple of months, he got quite big ripped. Like he's got photos without his shirt, big muscles, and very impressive. So I caught up with him and I was talking, and he says that he's 3 times more successful now getting clients, that he's actually looking the way he's looking, than what he did before. And the reason I pose this question to you is, I don't think it actually has anything to do with the good looks. What it has to do is, when you like what you see in a mirror, you project differently onto everybody around you. But when you don't like what you see in a mirror, you project differently. Is that the case, or is it actually the looks that make a difference?
I feel it's perception. It's perception, right? So this person has made the effort to go to the gym and work on himself, which is great. And I encourage that for everybody that is in professional sales, because if you look good and you feel good, you are good, okay? But here's the reality. So this person has had to work extra hard to get to this position where he's looked at himself in the mirror and he's like, I'm actually quite happy with the package. I feel like I can now go in with confidence, commit people to my method of thinking. But the reality is, had that person not gone that direction, and there was, for example, a female that was in exactly the same starting position as that person, and you were to go out to the market, she would have more success, because I think perception is that female are more emotionally connected. They are better emotional salespeople. When somebody's speaking to a female that is trying to sell, they're more likely to believe the story, because what it illustrates is this sense of togetherness.
I'll cut this part up. We don't have to do this talk, answer all the time. Just a few things. We can do the same thing like we're doing before. We don't have to do it all the time.
I've got a question to both of you in regards to this. What do you think? What do you think is a bigger indicator to success? Is it looks? Ability to hold yourself, because you can be an average looking person but hold yourself really well, or is it how you talk?
It depends on the type of sales. I mean, if you're doing a lot of things on a phone or via email, the looks don't really come into. Be honest, how many times have you spoken to somebody on the phone, right? Okay, be honest, especially women, and you look them up on LinkedIn just to see what they look like.
Absolutely never.
Of course not.
I've never done it in my life.
Yes, honey, I have never done that in my life. No, but we do all of that. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter what they look like. You may go, oh, they're really good looking, or oh, they're not good looking, but you won't stop dealing with them. But so when you say what's more important, if your initial contact with somebody is phone, email, something of the sort, I don't think it makes a big difference. I think the looks plays a part when you first approach somebody in any which way. But if you only use that to open the gate, then you don't need to work. But we all know, you know how you said sometimes a good-looking people have a problem because that can work against them, right?
Can do, yeah.
Yes, but how many times have even we've seen somebody who's good-looking and then make sure that they show that consistently through the sales process, and then at the end goes, oh, they're not taking me seriously.
I have to disagree with Justin on that. Honestly, you would be more inclined to go with a good-looking person if you're up against a good-looking person or somebody who's an average-looking person. And I'll tell you for why. Because the perception is the good-looking person is actually active, potentially goes to the gym, looks after his or her health, and it's not a boy-girl thing. They dress well, they have a general care for themselves, they love themselves, which means when you're looking at sales, that transfer of emotion or enthusiasm, which is what we know sales to be, you feel that this person is going to be more aligned with what you want to hear. May not necessarily be the best outcome for yourself, but I do feel that looks and the way they speak and the overall perception of who they are plays a massive part, whether you will go with that person or this person, for example, in real estate.
I think with the three of us have all definitely been on the other side of the fence, being sold to.
Correct.
And look, over the years, I feel being a salesperson, you develop spidey senses for other salesmen's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I know for myself that if I walk in to say, we use a mobile phone shop, something as simple as mobile phones, that if I go in and say, all right, I want to upgrade a phone, I want to upgrade my phone, I have this phone currently, tell me what I should get. If some, I'm not looking at how they look. I'm looking at what they're saying to me. Well, what do you use your phone for? They're asking me all the right questions. How often do you use it? How much space do you need? They're asking me, they're getting me to talk. If someone's really good looking, sure, they're going to capture my eye. But if they don't treat me as a customer and ask me those questions, I'm less likely to buy off them regardless of what they look like or how they present than the guy or girl who came up to me, asked me all the right questions, got me in the mindset of thinking, okay, yeah, I need this, or I don't have this, or whatever, and getting myself mentally in a position to buy. Then if the good-looking average salesperson approached me.
Everything stand what you said, but here is my question to you, and this is what he said. If you walk into that shop, right, doesn't matter which one it is, let's say the red one, right? You walk into shop, it's Tuesday, it's quiet, there are two people over there, you lock eyes with both of them, right? Now you have one person completely not your type, not interested, the other person that you find beautiful. You can't tell me that you're not going to go, well, I'm going to talk to that person first.
Can I be honest about this? I will go to whichever one acknowledges me first.
No, that's fine. But if they both look at you, and it happens a lot of times, they'll both talk and they both look at you, and you basically need to start, you walk up and you're going to start talking to one of them. Everybody will do exactly what he says, but then it happened to me on a few occasions. I'll come in and I'll do that, and I'm guilty of it, and please don't divorce me, honey. No, I'm guilty of it, but then you'll start talking to that person and the other person will jump in conversation, and you see that they're more knowledgeable, you will just switch the conversation to them. Like, you won't just stick around. So what you said is 100% correct. Like, you will gravitate towards that person, but that doesn't mean that you will continue dealing with them.
Well, some of those shops, I think. Look, I used to manage a phone shop many years ago, and sometimes we would have the eye candy up front, and it was just the way it worked. They would draw people. We had some really good-looking guys and girls who would be really great at bringing people into the shop, but when it came to their knowledge and understanding, we'd hit them with that, and we wouldn't, specifically do it in, a ploy to double team, but it was just how it worked. Because, okay, you're right. Some people would walk past the shop and they might see one of the girls or one of the guys and go, "Oh, I wouldn't mind talking to them." Half the time they would come in not going to buy anything. They just wanted to chat up one of my team members, and then we'd end up selling them something because it got them longer time in the shop.
But that's the, you got into the shop, but
kind of contradicts what I was saying. But I guess I'm talking from my personal way that I buy. Obviously, Sanjay, he's a bit more, eats with his eyes, so to speak.
No, but okay, so if that is the case, right, explain to me why me, and yes, I know how beautiful I am. I mean, that's not.
You're beautiful on the inside.
Yes, I'm that is for that. No, here's the thing: is I got trophies over there from selling Rico. You have God knows how many trophies and all of that. And let's not say that we're not beautiful, but how do you explain that? I've never thought I've lost a customer or a sale because I don't think I was good looking.
Look, I've had the fortunate experience of working with really good looking guys and really not so good looking guys. And for me, at the end of the day, as a sales manager, it doesn't matter who or what or how, so long as the job is done. But I have to say, depending on the geographic, putting your best jockey and your best horse does yield phenomenal results.
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about. Now we're talking about basically looking at particular demographics and putting a person that fits that demographic to it. That's not really good looking. No, but I was actually talking, this real estate guy is going, oh, I've been doing so much better, right? And you gotta admit, he puts up the photo on it, he's looking good. Right? But how many times do you remember how we used to put on a tie and all that stuff? You put a suit and you look yourself in the mirror and it goes, good. Especially you're walking the lift and you're about to go to a client, you fix up and everything, you talk differently.
Of course.
Right? But that's because you look at it in the mirror and you go, yeah, I look good. But then if you're wearing a shirt that's too small and you look in the mirror and you gotta go and you're sucking in your stomach and you're sitting there, keep doing one of these because your buttons are going stretching like that and you got a skinny little tie that doesn't cover the holes. And people are gonna go, oh, they didn't like me because I'm fat, I'm not good looking. But no, you're just sitting there and you're doing this and you're just trying to hide and putting the things away from it.
I honestly believe that if sales was all about looks, I'm sorry, boys, I love you both like brothers, but we'd all be out of jobs.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Like, you know,
I was talking about that. I was thinking like, yeah, how do you explain this?
I would say I would class us high-performing sales professionals, and again, like I think if it was that detrimental to winning business, we'd be in some strife. But you know, I think it counterbalances here, especially with us. Then this is what brings me back to that question. That I think the ability that we have to speak to people and understand people, and you know, gets out of them what we need to provide for those particular circumstances is what makes us good, not necessarily how we look. But I think, which I will, sorry, Daniel, I'll add this, that when we present to these people, we might have heads for radio, but we're dressed well. And you know, you were talking last week about the watch and the suit. Yeah. I think that is far more powerful than how pretty you are.
So it gets back to the point that I was making earlier, perception. Yeah? Because perception is, if I see you, and to me you're a good looking bloke, as a uni game,
oh, of course.
If you're in a nice suit, tailored, a nice watch, hair's done nice, your beard is neat, you can speak a few words. For me, I'm thinking this could potentially be the person that I want to actually get into a partnership with, as opposed to somebody who turns up in a polo shirt without a suit, really scruffy, hair's really messy, and they're trying to deliver the exact same message that you've delivered to me 15 minutes ago. For me, I'm thinking this person that I spoke to 15 minutes ago has more pride in his appearance. For me, what that means is this person's company is going to give me service on time, they're going to give me support when I need, and more than likely, they will actually give me a really good overall value proposition. So for me, you could be not in a suit, you could be in a suit, and you guys give it the exact same message, but I would be more inclined to going towards the mate here with the suit, because the perception that he has set is that he is A, B, C, and D, right? In your case, I'd be thinking, yeah, Justin really knows what he's talking about, but has he gone to the effort Has put the effort that.
So you're talking about an extra 2% of chance of getting the deal because of that.
So the 2% is like
Half percent, yeah, but you know what I mean. We were talking about the watch gives you half, the pen gives you half, the suit gives you. Okay, but look at this. You know how we said we all worked. We're not beautiful. We got that. So no. Look at the job.
We are beautiful.
Of course we are. Everybody's beautiful. As Justin said, I'm beautiful on the inside.
As Christina Aguilera said, we are beautiful.
But I actually can prove to you that it's the inside that matters, not the outside. Right? I can prove to you very simple. If you look at the fridge, what's more important?
But what if you have a good looking fridge?
Here's the question. You can prove to me that you're more beautiful inside. But am I going to believe that, knowing that the 7 seconds prior to that, I've seen Justin looking beautiful?
I think this is a very subjective topic because it's going to be, it's in the eye of the beholder. And something I look forward to in future podcasts is getting other people from the sales community and asking similar questions and seeing what their experience and what they've seen over the years. Because when you think about it, there are lots of people who do sales in polo and jeans and maybe not thongs, but that are somewhat neat casual, but they're not smart business, and they excel because sometimes that relaxes the person in front of them. I remember when I first started med devices, it was much like copiers and print. You turned up in a suit and tie, everything. Even if you were going into theatre to do case support, you turned up in a suit and tie just in case you were going to run into a doctor in the corridor. Now, the transition now is that with the younger surgical and clinical teams coming through, they're much more relaxed. They're less focused on how you present physically, but more how you present with your knowledge and your ability to understand what they want. They're much more focused on that and what you can provide as value from yourself. And I know we talked about value again last podcast, but what you're putting in to the process and what they're getting out of it. I really feel that there is a shift there, and I'm sure as we speak to more people, there's going to be interesting answers to these simple questions.
But this is what I was saying is all of us did jobs, and we still do it, like photocopies, all three of us, medical devices, the fire alarms, the finance, and all that. All of the initial contacts are always done via phone or via an email, right? Very few is you walk and being introduced. But if you're looking at the real estate, let's say, they're either walking or you're meeting them at the open house or they have a photo. So what you said, it doesn't, like what I was saying, it doesn't really make a difference if you're good looking or not. It just makes you feel better. That probably works in our type of selling, but if you're looking at the real estate or a personal trainer or something that you see them before you speak to them, I think that three of us wouldn't probably do that well as we did in photocopies.
I agree. It's perception, right? For me, somebody who is fit, looks after themselves, and is dressed to the nines in beautiful attire, my perspective at that moment is this person cares, because she cares enough on his or her personal appearance, which means that is going to transfer to my transaction with them. So, and we know some beautiful real estate agents. In fact, some of these are really, really amazing, good-looking girls, boys, whatever you may be. But you look at an agency where everybody's just beautiful. You're like, I really want these guys to be my representative, because why? Because the girls are great, the boys are great, they dress well, they have this amazing presence about them. For me, this is a winning team. Why would I not want to put my cards into a winning team? As opposed to, say, the three of us would have a real estate agency, which we would do really well at, not at, but there's one thing that's missing: perception. First 7 seconds of meeting somebody. And for me, that is just a sad reality that we are in today. You might have somebody with 30, 40, 50 years experience. You've got somebody with 1 week experience not having more success converting that next person as a client as opposed to somebody who's got 30, 40, 50 years experience. Because that brings us to the next question, is experience really the silver bullet in sales?
Yes and no. I mean, look, how do you put this? All right, so you know how we were doing photocopiers and then we switch from analog to digital, right? So you can have the enormous amount of experience in the analog, but trying to sell digital, you have no experience. So somebody who's never sold before can actually do it. So it depends on the product. But if you've been selling this cup and this cup has not changed in 20 years, then experience does make a difference. At least to me, I think.
I am going to disagree to some extent because I believe, and this is going to be multifaceted, I believe that a good salesperson, it takes time to become a good salesperson.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't necessarily believe that tenure automatically qualifies you as good. There are lots of people that have had 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50 years of sales experience and they're kidding themselves. They've been kidding themselves the whole time, but they've just floated along. Whereas, yes, you can get a newer person come in who just is like a duck to water. But I think in the majority of cases, I think that there's going to be skills that the person who's got experience that have developed over a particular period of time that are going to be transferable irrespective of what they're selling. And I say it to a lot of the new stuff when we get new stuff into our company and other companies. I say to them, don't even worry about going out there and trying to sell a product. Go out there and try and sell yourself. Get to know people, build relationships. The product's secondary. Because if you can do all the right things of introducing yourself, presenting well, going and, again, start the development of these relationships and building that rapport and seeing if there's anything that they're having issues with or if there's something they're looking for and say, okay, look, I don't know about that particular product, but I'm going to get back to you. Give me 24 hours. You hold to the maximum of being, replying in the time frame that you set, you build credibility. And then eventually being able to sell will come. But they're elements and skills that you're just not going to have straight away. You're going to develop them. And that's why I think that, obviously that gets stronger, you build bigger networks and things like that. Like experience builds networks, and that's it. That's another facet of this as well. That even some of the worst salespeople that I've worked with that have had a long tenure, the reason why they're in jobs is because they've got such strong relationships that they've built over 20 or 25 years.
But they would have to be good to build those relationships.
Well, they're good at building relationships, but they can be shit-out salespeople. They can work through the sales process and get to a point, and they've done all the work, and they won't ask for the close. And this is something that I stress with my new guys all the time. Don't be scared to ask for a close, because asking for the business or trial closing, whatever you want to put it, is something that most new salespeople just struggle with. They really struggle with saying, so can I get you to sign on the dotted line, or can we go ahead and change your preference card, or can I start an order for you? And it's weird. It's like a mental block where, and look, it does transfer to some experienced salespeople, but most of the well-performing to high-performing salespeople that I know that have been in the job for a long time and been continually successful, the one thing that sets them apart from the not so good and the new is that they are amazing at objection handling and amazing at asking for the business.
But that's the funny thing is, I remember Brian Tracy, one of the books, I think it was Brian Tracy, actually said, you have nothing to lose. Doesn't matter how bad your presentation was. You have nothing to lose by asking for a sale, because you may have thought that you had the worst presentation in the world, and the customer on the other side may think, he's actually explained it so well because he was able to follow a train of thought or something. But you're absolutely right. So many deals are lost because people just don't go, okay, it's that silence thing, like we were talking about last time, goes, first one that speaks loses. But a lot of times they'll go, okay, so this is the cup. And you'll go, okay, and the customer will go, okay. And you'll just stand there and stand there and stand there. There's no silence because, there's no, first one, because there's nothing, you didn't ask the question, you go, okay, so I'll go now. And the customer goes, well, I like the cup, but he's got to go.
Well, I'll put it to both of you. If you can remember that far enough, and I can sort of still remember like snippets of times like this. How many times have you walked away from a sales call and gone, shit, I missed this, I missed this, I missed this, I could have trial closed, or I could have done this. And like I feel for me, I will preface this, that over the time that I've been in sales, I've reflected on that a lot more, and I've thought, okay, well, I've given myself a chance to go back because I might have missed something, but I need to do that better next time. Like, surely there would have been times early on when you guys could think about it and maybe share
so
the
many
story.
times. You know what's funny? It wasn't early on. This is for me. I don't know if it's like, it wasn't early on that was a problem for me, because I was trained and it was just like spot on. I know I'm making mistakes, so I kind of had this mental checklist of doing. It's when I was about a year into it and walking around that I think I know everything.
Sure.
And everybody knows everything. That's when I started dropping things out of my presentation, so to speak, because I goes, yeah, I don't need to mention that it's white, but people obviously know that.
Yeah.
And I stopped dropping things, and it was actually, I spoke to you at one stage and I said, it doesn't make any sense. Like, my sales went out like that, then just went,
What was the trigger? What was the trigger for you to change something? Was it the drop in sales, or did you cognitively realise that you were missing? It was the chalk. Okay.
It was the chalk. It's the visual. Look, I'm very visual.
Yeah.
And I think most of the sales guys are. Like, we have a whiteboard on that we use all the time because it's a visual thing. And it was just numbers to me, wouldn't really do anything. But when you got that chalk on a board like we all had, right, that was the visual to me. And I'm going like, something's wrong. And I remember you saying, well, go back to what you're doing, see what you're doing differently. And then I've looked at, and I actually recorded myself doing one of the presentation. Like, I put a phone there and I was recording. And I was listening after him and goes, God, you're an idiot. You didn't mention this, you didn't mention this, you didn't mention this, you didn't mention that. And I remember driving back to the office and goes, I don't even know how I managed to sell any in the last couple of months if this is what I was doing. So, yeah, I know what you mean, but to me it wasn't the beginning. It was when I got cocky. And there's no other word but that.
And look, to put things into perspective, self-awareness is very important in sales. Like, to be self-aware, you know what you need to do to reboost yourself into a different trajectory. But you're right. I feel that, probably going back 2 or 3 statements ago, I felt that the newer guys to our industry would actually be able to string a few words together. And when it came to closing, they would actually ask the closing question. And why? Because they've got nothing to lose. They don't have bad habits. There's no zebras with zebra stripes or leopards with leopard spots. They were invested, they were plugged in, they were learning. So they would say, blah, 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 Danny, would you like to go ahead? Now, Danny might not even be the decision maker, okay? But here's the reality. They were still practicing what they learned to try to move you from the thinking part to the decision making part, right? And that skill is lost because as you get more entrenched into an industry or into sales, you're 5 years in or 10 years in, even to this very day, sometimes I don't qualify properly. So I'm trying to sell a product to somebody who doesn't know their products, which is say yes. But someone who's been in there 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month is going to ask all those questions to move this person to the decision end. So for me, I feel that it's one of those, personally, I believe that people that have got just a fresh start in sales are more likely to ask those questions, whether the questions are asked at the right time or too late or too soon, as I mentioned. It directs them in a particular way where potentially they can overcome 2 or 3 objections and get the business. We're experienced guys, because we know it all, right? We tend not to have that perseverance. We get thrown an objection, we feel like we have to handle the objection. But as you and I both know, or 3 of us know, there are objections and there's smoke screen objections, right? Smoke screen objections are those objections that people just throw to you because they don't know where next to go with the conversation. So it's an interesting one because I feel that's one for each side.
It is, but I'll tell you what, just listening to what he was talking about, if you look at the sale process, you walk in, you got the introduction, whatever, small talk, and then you do your presentation. Doesn't matter what you're selling, you do your presentation, right? And then at the end, the fun part comes in. This is where you close. And as much as we all love closing, you really want them to start negotiating, because that's where the fun part is.
Yeah,
right?
Correct.
How many sales guys, when all of us, when we get cocky, we know what we're doing, we skip this, because the presentation is the boring part.
Correct.
And you just jump to that, because this is the fun part.
Yep.
So I can understand why that would be happening, and the more successful you are, the more you're going to be chasing that feeling of closing everything and doing negotiation and everything of the sort. So, which actually explains to a lot of the salespeople that this is how it goes with them, up and down in sales.
Yes, ebbs and flows.
Yeah, because they'll go, oh, I'm here, I can do, and then it goes, oh, I've got to go back to the beginning because I'm always doing something wrong, and then they keep going up and down, up and down. So, tying that with what we were talking earlier, okay? If you have a good-looking person, okay, and you said you gravitate towards a good-looking person.
Always.
Okay? So, and no, you would say that would be a benefit, being a good-looking.
Yeah.
Okay? But if you have a good-looking person doing a presentation for you, and they're trying to close you, and you as a customer standing there goes, well, they can close me now, but if I say, come and see me next week, they'll come and see me next week, and then I get to enjoy their company again. So as much as that would open the door, being good looking, would that prolong the sales process because of that?
Well, the sales process is fun. It's meant to be fun. Yeah, people think that the sales process is just this debilitating, boring thing. Tell me, Danny, when you bought your beautiful car that you had out the front, the Havana, okay?
Yeah.
Were you just in there going, yep, give me that one, sign up, see you later? Or did you love the thrill of the chase? Did you like to be chased? Right?
Yeah, see, that's probably not a good question to ask because I hate buying cars and I bought that one off over the phone, so.
Understand, right? But let me put it to you, Justin. When you went to buy your car, did you just walk in and buy the first thing or did you want to get chased? Because in human nature, whether you're a female or a male, you want to be chased because that chase means you're desired, right? So in your case, I would love to be a Havana salesman because I would have sold you like that, right? But if you were wanting to be chased, I would need to make a conscious decision to chase Danny. And is that chase going to make you feel, oh, hang on a second, I'm desired all of a sudden. Here we go. Maybe I should squeeze him for a few more dollars, or maybe I should give him the business, or maybe I should say to him that I'm talking to this other company, Toyota, to try to get a better deal, right? For me, the thrill of the chase is very much a part of the sales process.
But see, you just hit a nail on the head. The thrill of the chase. But, don't want to sound sexist, but if you look at men prefer to chase.
So do women.
Okay, that's fair enough. But no, what I'm saying is, you said it's human nature to want to be chased. See, I would prefer to chase somebody than to be chased.
Yeah. But in the context of you wanting to transact in a sales type of example, do you want to be chasing the salesman to sell you the product, or would you prefer to be chased by the salesman?
That depends on the need. I believe, I'm sorry, jump in there, but I believe that's 100% about the need.
Yeah, I agree.
If you have made your mind up independently of anyone else's advice or any salespeople's advice on a car, for example, and you want a car, you've got all your finance, you start running around dealerships, someone says you don't get it, If they don't call you for a couple of days, what are you doing? Getting on that phone and going, mate, I spoke to you. I want that car. I'm going to have to look elsewhere, but I'm coming to you.
But is that a sales tactic that people in car sales use?
But if I've already more or less committed to it,
But you know,
if you had to ring up about the Haval and then the salesperson digged you around over the phone, what are you going to do?
well, see, that's the thing is, you wouldn't. You would just. But this is the thing is, it comes down to you. I made that purchase in my head before I bought that car. I've looked at all the cars and everything was fine, and I made that decision. I am buying this car. Now, a salesman could have potentially convinced me to buy another different type, but I wasn't even giving him the option. I would just go, this is what I want, this is what you gotta get me, either get me or I'll go somewhere else.
But we did go somewhere else. So,
I did go somewhere else.